I'm a good witch. I'm mischievous, but in a nice way, you know?
Her mom was like super intense. I've actually never told this story. And I was on the set of Lizzie McGuire, and I was in Hilary's dressing room, and her mom was there. I'm gonna say the epitome of a stage mom. She was intense.
Hilary Duff's mom, Susan, was calling the shots from day one. She wasn't just a mom, she was the boss behind the brand. Susan made sure her daughter was destined for the spotlight.
So her mom was like, do you know what you're doing this summer? What are you doing this summer? And I go, oh, I'm filming this movie where I'm playing like a junior James Bond. It's called Agent Cody Banks. And she's like, is there a girl that could be like Hilary, that would be good for Hilary? I knew in my contract,
You had to say.
I had to say of who the girl was going to be. The next day, and her mom was like, guess what? We're going to be spending the summer together. She's like, because we filmed that in Vancouver as well. She's like, we're going to be up in Vancouver together. I'm like, oh, what's Hilary filming? Like, she's going to be filming a movie up there too? That's awesome. She's like, no, she's doing Cody Banks with you. And I looked at her and I went, no, she's not. And she's like, they signed the contract last night. And I'm like, the movie you knew nothing about yesterday, you signed. How is that possible? I wasn't.
Even if that meant making things tough for anyone daring to compete with Hilary. People even say she played a big role in shutting down the Lizzie McGuire franchise after a messy public fallout with Disney, leaving Hilary to deal with all the chaos that came after. Before Kris Jenner was running Hollywood, Susan Duff was already setting the stage. Back in the day, she was known for her fierce determination and intense drive. Susan wanted fame for her family so badly that she pushed both her daughters, Hailey and Hilary, towards stardom, no matter the cost. She had that unshakable energy of a true stage mom, the kind who never takes no for an answer. Susan didn't waste a second. She packed up little Hilary and her sister Hailey, leaving Texas behind and heading straight to California when Hilary was just 6 years old. Back home, the Duff family owned a small convenience store, but Susan wasn't about to settle for that life. While Hilary's dad stayed behind to run the store, Susan took the girls to Hollywood with one goal: make them stars. She had Hilary landing commercials almost instantly, turning playtime into screen time before most kids even learned to ride a bike. At that point, Hailey was around 8 and Hilary only 6, still just kids figuring out who they were. But Susan already had their whole futures mapped out. Then came Hilary's first real breakthrough in 1998 when she played Wendy in Casper Meets Wendy. There's even an old interview where tiny Hilary talks about the role, looking so sweet and clueless about the fame that was about to crash into her life. Not long after, Lizzie McGuire blew up and turned her into a household name. From there, she stacked up hit after hit: Cadet Kelly, Cheaper by the Dozen, A Cinderella Story, even Cody Banks. The Hollywood hustle had officially begun. When it comes to Agent Cody Banks, things behind the scenes were just as wild as the movie itself. Frankie Muniz, Hilary's co-star, recently dropped a bomb. He hasn't spoken to her in 22 years because of her mom, Susan. He said everything went left during the casting process thanks to Susan's over-the-top behavior. Frankie, best known for Malcolm in the Middle and Big Fat Liar, spilled all the details on the Joe Vol-Lopez podcast on September 2nd, and he didn't hold back. Frankie said, "I was on the set of Lizzie McGuire and I was in Hilary's dressing room, and her mom was there." He described Susan as not just a mom, but an agent and producer who totally embodied the classic stage mom stereotype. According to him, Susan straight up cornered him, grilling him about projects he was working on, and then tried sliding Hilary into one of them. Frankie said it felt like she was trying to make moves without even asking if he was down for it. At that time, fans were already pairing Hilary and Frankie together because of their earlier work, so teaming them up again made them look like a package deal. But let's be real, when the cameras rolled, Hilary's star power totally outshined him. It's no wonder Frankie walked away from that experience feeling some type of way.
Totally surprised of the success that the TV show had. It's so amazing because, I've been auditioning for about 4 years, just trying to get parts here and there, and then I got Lizzie McGuire, and it was so cool because we worked on it for like 2 years, and we did 65 episodes. You would walk around and people would see you at the mall and be like, "Hey, I like your show." That's really cool to know that you are a part of something that people.
Frankie realized right there on set that what he thought was his project had been flipped overnight. That casual chat he'd had with Susan the day before suddenly turned into Hilary landing the role he thought was meant to be his spotlight moment. You can imagine how awkward that must have been, seeing everything change right in front of him. He definitely wasn't thrilled about it. Frankie revealed that the very last time he spoke to Hilary was on their final day of filming Agent Cody Banks. After that, nothing. No calls, no texts, no friendship left standing. And now that Hilary's making her big music comeback, it seems Frankie couldn't care less about burning that bridge. He said his piece and moved on. On Reddit, one person shared, "My mom dealt with Susan once as part of her job, and I believe Frankie. My mom also said Hilary's mom was intense." Another user chimed in saying, "But can we give her a round of applause for keeping Hilary safe from becoming a cliched child star gone bad?" Honestly, that's a fair point. It's also pretty ironic that Hilary's new album is called Luck. Some people think she named it that because she feels lucky to have avoided the typical child star downfall. But let's be real. Was it really luck, or was Susan pulling the strings behind the scenes again? Hilary might see it as fate, but plenty of folks say her mom's iron grip had everything to do with it. Now, here's where things get even more dramatic. Susan reportedly had a huge part in the downfall of Lizzie McGuire. Word is she kept demanding more and more money from Disney, and eventually it all blew up. That's the kind of bold, business-savvy move that gives off major Kris Jenner vibes. Sure, it's good for a mom to teach her kids their worth, but in this case, Susan's pushiness might have cost Hilary one of her biggest opportunities ever. When Disney started planning to expand the Lizzie McGuire universe in the early 2000s with a sequel movie and a brand new TV series, things got messy fast. Behind the scenes, Susan Duff came in swinging, demanding a serious pay raise for Hilary. At the time, Hilary was making around $15,000 per episode, but Susan wanted her daughter to earn $100,000 per episode instead. That's a massive jump. Disney tried to meet her halfway, countering with an offer of $35,000 per episode. But Susan wasn't budging. She knew how huge the show was and believed Hilary deserved superstar pay. One online comment even said, "Hilary got robbed on the $15,000 per episode, so I don't blame mom." And honestly, a lot of people get that point. Still, shooting for a six-figure paycheck per episode was a bold move, especially if the season had 20 episodes. That would have been an absolutely wild payday. But Susan's push didn't just shake up the TV deal. It ended up affecting the movie too. Hilary reportedly made about $1 million from the first Lizzie McGuire movie, but when Disney offered $4 million for the sequel, things still didn't come together. Negotiations fell apart, and just like that, the entire franchise went up in smoke. It's wild to think that the same fierce determination that made Hilary a star might have also brought down the empire her mom helped build.
That's not the only role Hilary Duff got screwed out of because of her mom. She also got screwed out of Lizzie McGuire because of her mom. There's a fact people need to recognize, and that's that child actors don't really make that much money from doing these shows, where Hilary Duff was only paid $15,000 an episode for Lizzie McGuire, which means she made $975,000, but then after taxes and managers, they take about half of it, and then the rest goes just to the cost of living in LA for 3 years.
On top of the massive pay raise Susan was demanding, there was also a $500,000 bonus tied to the movie's box office success. But here's where things really blew up. Susan wanted that bonus guaranteed no matter how the movie performed. Disney flat out refused, and that's when the situation spiraled out of control. Instead of backing down, Susan took things public and went straight for the jugular. She publicly called out Disney, accusing the studio of underpaying Hilary and trying to control her career. She didn't hold back either, labeling their negotiating tactics as bullying and unfair. That move made headlines fast, and people couldn't stop talking about how bold she was for standing up to one of the biggest companies in entertainment. But Disney wasn't about to let that slide. They clapped back, saying Hilary's demands were totally unrealistic and that negotiations had officially hit their breaking point. Susan fired back, saying, "Disney thought they'd be able to bully us into accepting whatever offer they wanted to make, but we couldn't. We walked away from a sequel. They walked away from a franchise." That line became iconic among fans who saw Susan as fearless. But for Disney, it was the final straw. The studio later issued a calm but sharp statement explaining, "We wanted to continue the Lizzie McGuire franchise, but every deal has a tipping point, the point where it no longer makes sense. Unfortunately, that's the point we reached, and we had to say goodbye." Honestly, it's wild to think about. Lizzie McGuire was the show back in the day, but maybe the numbers just didn't add up for Disney to hand out those massive checks. Still, Susan wasn't about to let her daughter get lowballed without a fight. It's pretty clear there was no love lost between Susan Duff and Disney's production chief, Nina. Rumor has it, Nina couldn't stand working with Susan. And honestly, she wasn't the only one. A lot of people in the industry found Susan tough to deal with. But when it comes to the reason Lizzie McGuire 2 never happened, most fans still point fingers at Susan, not Disney. And get this, someone on Reddit even brought up another layer of drama. They said, didn't Susan have something to do with Lalaine, Miranda from Lizzie McGuire, not getting a record deal or something, apparently out of jealousy? And guess what? That memory's spot on. There was tension between Hilary and her co-star, and insiders say it all started when Lalaine got attention for her singing talent. Everyone adored Lizzie and Miranda's on-screen friendship. It was one of the sweetest parts of the show and the movie. But behind the scenes, things were totally different. Sources say Susan was worried that Lalaine might outshine Hilary, especially if she landed her own record deal. That kind of competition didn't sit well with Susan, who had big plans for Hilary's pop career and wanted her daughter to be the face of Disney's next wave of teen stars.
Tensions reportedly started as early as season 1, when Lalonde got the chance to show off her vocals. That moment apparently sparked frustration from both Hilary and her mom, since they already had their sights set on turning Hilary into the next big music sensation. What looked like a close friendship on TV was quietly falling apart off camera, and Susan's behind-the-scenes influence might have had everything to do with it. Producers wanted Hilary to shine as the main singer on Lizzie McGuire, and they definitely didn't want a side character stealing that spotlight.
This episode was supposed to showcase Lalaine and her voice, leading people to believe that she was going to be doing more than just be a sidekick on a TV show. Rumor has it this really upset Hilary. Hilary wanted to be a singer, so she was surprised she wasn't given this storyline. So the long-standing rumor is that Hilary's mother got Lalaine fired from the show.
But when Lalonde got the first solo song on the show, Susan reportedly took note, and she wasn't happy about it. On top of that, Lalonde was branching out, chasing new opportunities, which only added more fuel to the tension behind the scenes. Hilary, who was constantly juggling shoots, music meetings, and promo events, started noticing that Lalonde was way closer with the rest of the cast. Since Lalonde spent more time hanging around set, she naturally built tighter bonds with everyone, and that apparently rubbed Hilary the wrong way. Some insiders said Hilary felt left out, and even jealous that her co-star had become the favorite off-camera. One insider described it perfectly. There were a lot of emotional politics that were just unfortunate. It was a mess. The set that looked so friendly and fun on TV was secretly filled with silent tension and competition. By the show's final stretch, things completely fell apart. According to Spencer, the author who documented all this drama, Hilary and Lalonde had what he called a falling out beyond repair. Their friendship, once so close, ended for good by the time the show wrapped. It was a heartbreaking end to one of the most beloved duos on Disney Channel. The tension between Hilary and Lalonde got so intense that it actually brought Lizzie McGuire's second season to a grinding halt. Things behind the scenes had gotten that bad. The president of Disney Entertainment at the time even addressed the situation, saying we could never and would never force someone to do a show they did not want to do. It was time for her to go. That statement said it all. There was no fixing the rift. A writer from the show later admitted that everyone on set could feel the tension between Hilary and Lalonde, even during something as simple as ad reads. It didn't take long before the whole crew realized these two just couldn't work together anymore. The friendly energy fans saw on screen had completely disappeared off camera. Then the internet opinions started flying. One person online said, "Unpopular opinion. I never really watched Lizzie McGuire, but I remember Hilary Duff's songs on the radio, and she wasn't the best singer. Maybe that's why they let the other girls sing first instead of her." It's a harsh take, but it definitely stirred debate. Another fan added, "So Miranda really wasn't visiting family in Mexico when Lizzie and Gordo went to Rome?" And someone quickly corrected them, saying, "No, they ended her contract 6 episodes before season 2 ended, and she wasn't asked back for the movie." That revelation shocked fans who grew up wondering why Miranda disappeared. After leaving Disney, Lalonde tried to chase her music dreams outside the Disney bubble, but sadly, her career never took off the same way Hilary's did. What started as a fun friendship on a beloved show ended in drama, career shifts, and a silence that's lasted ever since. Once Lalonde stepped away from Disney, not many people seemed to notice, and honestly, building a career outside the Disney bubble back in the early 2000s was no joke. There was no social media, no TikTok, no quick viral moments to boost your fame overnight. Without the machine of Disney promoting you, it was almost impossible to keep that same spotlight shining. Meanwhile, Hilary was still navigating her own struggles, especially with her mom managing every part of her life. She's opened up about how complicated it was having Susan act as both her mother and her manager. She described her mom as having a lot of control over nearly every aspect of her career and said it could get overwhelming being under that constant microscope as a young star.
While Hilary was filming her scenes, Lalaine was hanging out with the cast and crew, becoming a favorite. They described her as friendly, down to earth, and clicked with everyone on set. And according to crew gossip and long-standing rumors, that created a lot of jealousy.
Then there was one headline that really made people laugh. It read, "Hilary Duff got in trouble with her mom over a photo of a condom in her purse." In the article, Hilary even joked about it, saying, "I'm caught." She shared the whole story on the Therapist podcast, explaining how it all went down. She said she was crossing the street in front of Kitson with her friend Marco, back when those clear jelly purses were the hottest trend. "I had one of those see-through bags, and of course, paparazzi snapped a photo at the worst possible moment. Inside the bag, you could clearly see a condom, and the picture instantly blew up." Hilary said, "I grew up in a time of scandal. Everybody wanted to catch me doing something bad. It turned into one of those classic early 2000s tabloid moments, proof that even the smallest thing could become a headline when you're living in the public eye." Hilary said that right after those photos surfaced, her phone rang and it was her mom, furious. Susan asked, "Is there a condom in your bag?" and just went off from there. Hilary remembered feeling panicked, saying, "Damn, I'm in trouble. I got caught. I did something bad." You can only imagine the pressure she must have felt trying to be this flawless pop star while her mom kept such a tight grip on her image. Looking back at those paparazzi shots though, a lot of people questioned whether there was ever even a condom in the bag at all. The purse was clear, but not that clear. It's hard to tell what anyone was even seeing. Online, people were quick to jump in with their takes. One person commented, "I believe it was photoshopped. Shame on them." Another added, "I remember the fake pictures." And honestly, that might not be far off. The early 2000s paparazzi scene was brutal. They'd do anything for a scandalous headline, even if it meant doctoring a photo. Back then, stars had no control over how their images were used, and fake rumors spread like wildfire. Years later, Hilary was able to laugh it off. She joked, "I found a condom in there. We didn't use that," probably hinting at her husband and kids. It was her way of reclaiming the story with humor instead of shame. What once caused panic and embarrassment became just another wild story from her early fame, proof that the paparazzi really were out of control during that era. Yeah, it's definitely something Hilary can laugh about now. Time really does change everything. And that wraps up everything I've got for you about Susan Duff, the powerhouse mom who shaped Hilary's career for better and for worse. From controlling contracts and calling out Disney to managing every move her daughter made, Susan's legacy in Hollywood is one people still can't stop debating. So now it's your turn. What do you think about Susan Duff? Was she a protective mom or a total Hollywood shark? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive, and don't forget to subscribe for more celebrity scandals and behind-the-scenes stories. See you in the next one.